So, Jeff, thank you for agreeing to do a few bonus questions. There are so many things that I'd love to ask you about MCP, but I think Mia would kill me, may not kill me, but she'd be mad if I let you go without asking you what does MCP mean for all of our clients, friends who are still on I'm not going to say legacy. Rich Soul once told me, don't call it legacy. It's like calling someone's baby ugly. But so for all of our clients that are still on-prem EBS that are being told that they don't need to move to cloud to leverage these, leverage AI. We've heard a lot about Select AI, Ask EBS in the last few months. So talk me through how MCP might be relevant here for those folks.
I think the way someone uses the word legacy is all in the way it's intended. And I know you intended it in the right way. It's sort of like distinguished.
Distinguished, yeah.
Yeah, it just means I've been here for a long time.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I'm no longer innovating. So people throw the legacy term at Oracle a lot, and we're like, hey, we've been innovating and adding stuff value for a long time.
Right.
E-Business Suite or EBS has been out there for decades. Imagine the amount of useful data customers have in those dictionaries or in those databases where those apps are being hosted out of. So traditionally, you have the stock app and it has the stock features, and then there's customizations galore. And there's actually a quite rich universe of people building Apex apps on top of those,
right,
and doing all of the extras on it. And that's a really talented developer that understands EBS and is able to build those apps. And those developers have spent years understanding those data models. They're, you know EBS when you see it, right?
Yeah.
That's the great thing about these language learning models. They've been trained on lots of things. And the guy that runs Grok and X claims that their LLMs have been trained on the entirety of the internet. So if a portion of that's true, or even close to being true, the LLMs understand the EBS schema when they run into it. They know what data is stored in what tables. So instead of asking you to build me an app to go into my EBS database and to perform a function for me, maybe it's not really an app that I need. Maybe it's just an ad hoc question that I need answered. I'm like a support business analyst, or maybe I need to do some research. Like, hey, what would it mean if our global supply chain was interrupted for 4 weeks? Like what products in the supply chain would be impacted first, and what customers would that hit, and like what sort of mitigation tasks should we take? And then at the end of the day, how much money could we theoretically save instead if we just sat here and watched it all burn? That's the type of question you could send to an agent, and if it had access to your EBS instance, it would have a pretty decent chance of giving you a good answer, or at least get you really far along on that answer. So when it sees that it has tools at its disposal, the agent, and some of those tools refer directly to an Oracle database, and I tell the agent, hey, go connect to my EBS database and find the data and use that data to help answer that question I just gave you, it has a reasonably good chance of doing that. So once it's got a connection, it's able to run any query that it can generate, right? So it's going to employ the LLM. And some of the LLMs are better at others at doing this, but the natural language to SQL stuff kicks in, and it's going to go, well, Jeff was asking me about the supply chain and products, and I need to go see like what's currently on order and what's on back order and what suppliers are, so it generates queries to get that data, and it's really good at summarizing. And some of the better agents can have multi-step plans to, grab this data and like iterate through it to get to the happy finish line. So without setting up my database, without doing anything in the database, with MCP, I can bring AI to the database. to any of my databases. So I could ask that question for my ERP instance today, and I could use it for my on-prem Fusion sales, environment tomorrow, and I could do it for my custom homegrown app at the same time if I wanted to. So I don't have to go into the database and configure profiles to allow it to reach out on the internet and connect with external LLM providers, and I don't have to do whatever else I would want to do if I were going to use something like Select AI, if I were going to use the EBS feature
Right.
that you referenced. So we use the EBS example a lot when we're talking to customers, just because of the prevalence of that that application with our customer base, and also because of how well known it is. And by well known, I mean it's just the blogs, the forum posts, the code samples, the white paper. The LLMs have been trained on that. So when you ask them those questions, even though the tables don't have foreign keys, it knows how to join the tables, which is just it. That's when it like gets people excited, like, oh wow, it can actually do that stuff. It almost does seem like reasoning.
So that's exciting. So those that have decided that they're staying put for a while, it doesn't necessarily lock them out of the age of AI modernization. So that's, I'm sure they're.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing that comes in nice too, because everything that we've done on this MCP side it doesn't require a specific version of the Oracle database either, right? So this will work on the shiniest, brightest, newest 26 AI, which yes is going to be available on-prem soon. We made that announcement 2 weeks ago.
January?
Yes, for x86 Linux first. And then it also worked for any Oracle database running in our cloud or our partner clouds. So if you're running Oracle database at Azure or at GCP or at AWS, you can connect to those. But you could connect probably to your 11G R2 database that's in your IT closet, that people pretend like it doesn't exist, but, they're still relying on more than they should. Upgrade those databases, please.
I'm going to ping Anton. I'm sure he has one of those in his closet that you see on the
no one wants
Apex Instant Tips.
Unless I do like a raffle giveaway to whoever who's got the oldest database, and then everyone, I got an 806. Yeah.
I remember bragging rights around who has the oldest Apex app, and we were pulling out Sand theme or whatever theme. Back then, the themes had numbers.
I have seen a really, really good uptake of 19C in our customer base.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually run into that much 11G or even 12 or 18.
Yeah. Okay.
But a lot of our customers don't have 6 databases; they have several thousand of them.
Right.
And so, yeah, you can take advantage of this tech for pretty much all of those instances right now. You'll just get more bang for your buck, the further up the database versioning you go, because those databases inherently have more capabilities.
Okay. Bonus question number 2 and last question. So for those of us who are eagerly awaiting Apex 26.1, or is it going to be 26? Yeah, 26.1. With that, we know comes Apex Lang. And so now if you bundle up Apex Lang and this MCP server, and MCP is going to know about Apex Lang, would you agree that sort of opens up all sorts of possibilities, more possibilities maybe than we've been?
Now that we're going to have a formal declarative language for Apex, which is Apex Lang, with parser or with the grammar and with the LLMs will be able to take your prompt and turn it into an app and express it with this Apex Lang code. And with something like our MCP server, actually deploy that into your database. Or reverse engineer. I think reverse engineering is where a lot of us start, right there.
Right.
You have an app, just give me that app in this Apex Lang directory. It'll be able to do that as well, right? You'll be able to say, hey, go into my database and pull out this app and express as Apex Lang. Scott Spindolini, he's got a nice demo. You may have seen it. He's out there taking it out on tour, I think. Basically just interacting with the agent directly via voice or chat, saying, hey, can you do this and can you do that? And it's just expressing his desires via tweaking the Apex Lang script or language in the page, right? Now, our development tools, like our VS Code extension, the SQL Developer extension for VS Code, we're improving or adding features to the language server protocol that sitting there, allowing you to do like code completion and highlighting for like SQL and PL SQL. And of course, VS Code already supports like JavaScript. So it'll do that also now for Apex Lang. So you'll get tab completion and syntax highlighting and jump and code navigation type stuff. But in that same page, you're going to have all of your embedded SQL and PL SQL and JavaScript and CSS too, right? So you'll be able to like literally interact with that page or system of pages. I think I shouldn't use page, file. That Apex Lang file. At some point, I don't know where, because I'm not an Apex developer, right? I only pretend to be sometimes. Like the Apex community has lived in the web IDE forever. So I think there has to be a big win or appeal for them to be tempted to not abandon or leave that space, but to go try something new. It's like, what's going to be the win there for me? So hopefully it's the CI/CD, the versioning.
Yeah, that'll be huge.
But it's probably going to be the AI turbocharge that it gets that really gets people excited. Because I don't think source control, versioning, and CI/CD gets people excited. That's just more tests they have to write or more tickets they have to file. I think the end benefits of that are immeasurable. But I think the initial appeal of the agentic AI experience for Apex devs will be enough to get them to go try it out. And even if they're not using it directly up front, on the back end, it'll be used a lot for doing deployments, for doing the versioning and doing that sort of stuff. And hopefully it will remove some of the barriers that people have always used against Apex as a cudgel or a weapon. It's like, oh, I can't use that because it just doesn't fall into our workflow. I don't know if I ever bought those arguments.
I think that's what I meant. So the CI/CDs, not necessarily super exciting, but obviously we know how important it is, and it has been
necessary thing. I won't say necessary
barrier.
I think
adoption.
I hate you, Jiro, but it's a necessary thing. You need to be able to, and this just really takes that barrier all the way down to zero.
Well, it almost makes me want to become a developer again. But I'd rather talk about this stuff at this stage.
You should be what you want to be, and you can also develop when you want to develop.
And I still do. Yeah. Jeff, I really appreciate all your time. Like I said, you're always so generous with it, and appreciate it. Hopefully, people have learned something new today. And yeah, thanks for being on. And if I don't speak to you, happy holidays. All the best.
Yes, we're at that beautiful time of year where we can say, hey, let's circle back up.
Let's circle back. Shovel everything into 2026. This week is still maybe, but next week for sure.
It's been a year. I'm not mentally checked out yet, but I'm a little bit emotionally checked out.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Enjoy your break.
Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Cheers.